Hello everyone, welcome back. I meant to do this video before, but I couldn't find the damn album, so I decided to make one anyway. It's obviously a Scorpions ranking, one of my favorite bands. Top 10 easily, maybe top 5. I don't have 2 albums, and the one I was looking for, their last one, Return to Forever, couldn't fucking find it. So there's going to be 3 albums missing, but I'm going to rank them anyway. I meant to do this downstairs in my basement, but the damn lighting with the natural light shining through was so bad. So I came upstairs with a bland background like always. Yeah, it's still bright, but you can see it a lot more clearly, and it's not like right in the back shining through the screen. Anyway, let's get this started. I just want to make a video since I haven't made one in a while, and I've always wanted to rank this band. And I'm not going to count them down because I don't have all of them, and I'll just fuck up the count because I, don't pay attention and I suck at math. So at the bottom, I'm going to do Eye to Eye. Now, Eye to Eye came out, I think, in '99. It's fucking terrible, in my opinion. It's when the Scorpions tried to update their sound using electronic beats and drum machines, and it's really a waste of time. I'll never own it, probably. But yeah, that's the last one. And then next on the list, I'm going to go with this. A lot of people might like this one, the debut Lonesome Crow. This is actually a picture disc from 1982, I think it was. I forget if it might be German. It says maybe, but I don't feel like looking. I think it is German, but I know it's 1982 because I looked it up. It's a really cool looking disc. It's more krautrock, experimental, psychedelic shit that I don't like. I'm Going Mad might be the only decent song off this for me. But then again, they didn't know what they were talking about or what they wanted to be at the time. So it's definitely interesting. Nothing like you would think traditional Scorpion sound. Oh, and by the way, I prefer more of the Matthias Yabs era Scorpions, like when they became more mainstream than I do 70s Scorpions with Uli Jon Roth, but I still like that era. Just wanted to throw that out there. Next is the next album in their discography, Fly to the Rainbow. Now, I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. The colors are kind of cool, though. To me, there's really nothing on this album that I like, aside from Speedy's Coming, the opening track, and occasionally they still play that. And they do it like when I saw them, they did a 70s medley, and that was included. It's a good song. The rest, including the, epic title track, I don't know. It's just, like I said, more experimental, almost like, I don't know how to explain it. Krautrock, like psychedelic. They still haven't really formed their sound of what they wanted to do. So that's Fly to the Rainbow. I got that used at a thrift store. It was pretty cool. Next, I think I'll go with one I don't have, and that's Pure Instinct. Now, starting with this one, every one of these albums I like at least a little bit of. Pure Instinct had You and I, which is one of their better ballads. They played it on the Moment of Glory album with I think it was Prague or one of those orchestras. It was a good song. When You Came Into My Life, it's not bad. The opener, Wild Child, is another highlight of the album. It's pretty much the only rock song on that album because it's all ballads. So it's kind of, the Scorpions are great at ballads, but I mean, come on, you need to have some balance of rock, metal, and ballads. But overall, it's not a bad album. It's not great, but I still have to get it. And of course, it was another band cover because it showed a woman's tit on it. So they had another version with just a band. So that's next. Coming in after that, I want to go with this one, the one album after Eye to Eye. That's Unbreakable. I originally liked this album when it came out, but the more I listen to it, it's just not that great. New Generation, the opening track's awesome. It's my favorite off the album. Through My Eyes is a great song. That's probably my 2 favorites. Remember the Good Times is another great song, but it's like I think it's it might be a bonus track. It doesn't say bonus track, but I think it might be on certain releases, and it's a throwback to the old style Scorpion songs. It's nothing bad, nothing good. It's just there in the discography, so that's Unbreakable. Some people might like it more than I do, but I mean, it's okay. Next up is the one I couldn't find, which is their last album and latest album, Return to Forever. I originally liked the album when it came out, but I mean, it didn't last with me. It didn't stay very long. It includes a lot of songs that I guess they're not really memorable. A lot of them were already written, like back all the way in the 80s. My favorite one off the album, Catch Your Luck and Play, was written in the, I think it was in the 80s. Rock My Car was also written in the 80s. We Built This House was the video release for it. It's actually a good song. I like that one. Eye the Storm was a good ballad. Overall, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's like a necessary release for casual fans, but if you want to check it out, it's readily available. Vinyl CD. Just go on Amazon or any other record store website, and they probably have it. So, next up is their third album. This is the only version I have, surprisingly, in Trance. This is when they started finally becoming more hard rock sound under Uli Jon Roth. By far my favorite song off this album is one of my favorite Scorpions songs, and that's In Trance, the title track. Dark Lady, decent song. Uli Jon Roth sings a few songs on this album. I think Dark Lady was one of them. Robot Man's another one. I mean, it's a nice listen. Like I said, the title track's my favorite one. That's why it's this high on the list, because I like it a lot, but it's not an album I really listen to very much, and it's not among my favorites. But this is the censored cover. Yes, there was another cover where, once again, another exposed boob came out, so they had to cover that up. Next up is the one after Unbreakable, and that's Humanity Hour 1. This, I really enjoyed this album when it came out. The title track's fucking heavy. The drum beats, it's really good. That's one of my favorite songs. Let's see, Love Will Keep Us Alive is a great ballad. Humanity is probably the other highlight of this song or album. It's another just like a epic ballad. There's nothing like memorable on this album aside from maybe the title track and the opening track. The Game of Life's also good. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this album. It's not like a must hear, but it's pretty damn good in my opinion. Next up, I think this is a top 10 now. And this is Face the Heat, which is the disappointing, in most people's eyes, follow-up to Crazy World, one of their best, and my personal opinion, their last great album. But this is nothing to, write off on, because it's a pretty solid album in its own right. Alien Nation is one of their best openers and one of their best hard rock songs they ever did. Under the Same Sun is in the same vein as Wind of Change. Not quite as good, but it's still a damn good song. It's featured on the end credits in the Steven Seagal movie On Deadly Ground. Yeah, it's played at the end, which is pretty cool. No Pain No Gain was the German football team's theme song. It's a good song too. And Woman, which is a very strange acoustic, I don't know how to explain it, like orchestral type. I haven't heard it for a while, but it's just very different ballad. And I appreciate the Scorpions for trying something different. It's a pretty decent song, but it doesn't sound anything like normal Scorpions would. But I would still recommend this album, Face the Heat, from 1993. Fucking nose itches. Oh. Next up is among many people's favorites from the Uli Jon Roth era, and that's Virgin Killer. Call me crazy, but I want to get the original cover just because it's worth money and it's a hell of a conversation starter. But I still can't believe they went through with it, but it was the 70s and it was Germany. Back then, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, hell, Steven Tyler had that affair with a 14 or 15-year-old girl and got her pregnant. Crazy shit, but this Catch Your Train is by far my favorite song off this album. Like I said, they still play it. Pictured Life's a great song. Backstage Queen is a good song. Hellcat. I don't like this album as much as a lot of other people do. I've been told by a few people that's their favorite album or it's a classic album. And I wouldn't put it that high on the list, but I guess it just depends on the listener. If you like Uli Jon Roth Scorpions, this is probably the highlight of most people's collections. It's my second favorite of his era, but it's still a hell of an album from the time. And that's Virgin Killer. Next up, probably the one that always gets overlooked because it's between Blackout and Love Drive, and that's Animal Magnetism. This cover, it's very subjective because you know what's coming, no pun intended, most likely in most people's minds. But the dog here, it's just like, what the hell? But I guess it's a sense of like they got to serve their master, so I guess that's what that means. But Make It Real, Not Fantasy, great song. Lady Starlight, the ballad off this album, it's a very brooding, slow ballad, but it's definitely a grower like this album is. Falling in Love, good song. The chorus is really cheesy, but the rest of the song is good. And of course, the Zoo. That guitar in that song might be their most recognizable guitar riff. It was probably Rocky Like a Hurricane or whatever, but I mean, it's instantly recognizable, and it's one of their best songs. And the song The Zoo elevates this album to where it's at on my list because it's fucking amazing. It's one of the best songs they have, and it's really a great live song too. And this is one of their most underrated releases. It's definitely another grower, so check this one out if you haven't already. That's Animal Magnetism. Next up, might be a surprise, but it's my favorite post Crazy World album and newer album, and that's Sting in the Tail. This was supposed to be their final album. It's definitely an album that will grow on you on each listen again. Like Raised on Rock was, I think it was the lead single, but you have like The Good Die Young. Well, I think who did it? I think Tarja Turunen, or however it's pronounced. I'm not a big Nightwish fan. She was the guest vocalist on that song. Lorelai's another great ballad. Spirit of Rock, just like the Raised on Rock. All these songs are similar style and names, but I mean they're really good. The Best is Yet to Come. To close the album is a great ballad, and so far it hasn't, because you know Return to Forever, in my opinion, wasn't the best or even close to it. But we'll see what their new album brings. But I mean, it's just a really good mix of rock songs and ballads. And if you listen to this album, it might take a couple listens because originally it did for me. But this is what I think is their best. So, you know, post Crazy World album. Next up, one off from the top 5 is Taken by Force. Now, this also generated controversy because, you know, it was in like a military cemetery with kids with guns, but they didn't change the cover. They never had it changed, so it's one that wasn't changed. Steam Rock Fever, great opener. I think they play that in the 70s medley also in concert. Will Burn in the Sky is by far my greatest and most favorite Lily John Roth era song. It's just really good. Sails of Sharon is another great hard rock metal song from this era. He's a Woman, She's a Man. That's another great rocking song. Despite the title, it's really catchy. I have another version of it on my iPod off of Covers album, but I can't remember which band did it. I don't know if it was Halloween or if it was like, it's one of those bands that did a cover of it. It's actually a pretty good cover. So, Born to Touch Your Feelings, I think that was also added to one of those, or it's the name of the one of those love compilations they made. So yeah, it's a pretty solid album. A lot of people overlook this. Album, but I think it's my favorite. It's also the final Lily John Roth Scorpions release. So for me, it's a good swan song for him. And now top 5. A lot of people don't like this album. I'm gonna move this out of the way, and that's Savage Amusement. I agree, it's more poppy, like Passion Rules the Game or Media Overkill. If you listen to the lyrics now, especially with the whole tracking vaccine, people in the media telling us what to do and, you know, watching us every move, it's kind of creepy to think about. I have a I forgot to bring it upstairs. I have a laser disc of this tour in Russia in 1988 where they the band goes behind the scenes on the street and in record stores and talks to the local Russian people about life in the Soviet Union. And Klaus Meine even walks into a record store and asks for Scorpions or hard rock albums, and of course they didn't have any. But yeah, Walking on the Edge is a great song. Of course, Rhythm of Love, Don't Stop at the Top, and Believe in Love, which was filmed, I think even Media Overkill was filmed in Moscow, but this was, Believe in Love was also filmed in Russia. I think it was filmed at Red Square, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's number 5. Number 4, I was originally going to put a different album at number 4, but this one's going to be at number 4, my favorite 70s album, and where Scorpions finally hit their stride of what most consider their most popular sound, and that was 79's Love Drive. I have to cover that up real quick. And it shows, I can't show the back cover because it has the titty exposed on the back, but yeah, the bubblegum titty cover. But Loving You Sunday Morning, everybody knows that one. Another Piece of Meat, Holiday, one of their top ballads, of course. Let's see if there's any other of my favorites on here. Coast to Coast is a great instrumental, and of course, Love Drive, the title track, is really good. So yeah, the bubblegum titty cover, that's a European press. Number 3 is Crazy World. Like I said, my favorite, last favorite Scorpions release, their last great one. My favorite song by the Scorpions is Wind of Change, one of the highest selling singles of all time, United Germany, and served as inspiration to the fall of the Soviet Union. For that song alone, they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but the fucking thing's a joke. Tease Me, Please Me, Don't Believe Her, Wind of Change, Hit Between the Eyes. I think that was all in the movie, but I don't remember what movie it was. And another great ballad to end the album, Send Me an Angel, the second big hit from this record. You can't go wrong with this album. It's one of their best, and it's their last great release, so I highly, highly recommend checking it out. I've had this album, not this particular vinyl, but the album in general is probably the longest serving Scorpions release that I have. So that's 3. 2, I debated what my top 4 would be, I mean in order, because I don't really have a favorite in terms of what I prefer, but these top 4 are by far my favorite. And number 2 is their most successful, popular release, that's Love at First Sting. Not much more needs to be said about this. You know, Bad Boys Running Wild, you have Rock You Like a Hurricane, Still Loving You, Big City Nights. I mean, there's hit after hit after hit off this album. And I think this might have been banned too. I can't remember if it was. I think there is an alternate cover of this also, because it shows like the ass cheek or something. Something stupid. But yeah, everybody knows this album for good reason. So I don't really need to spend a lot of time on that one. And I put this as first, of course. That's Blackout. It's my favorite cover of theirs. And the reason I put this first is because it was the point where they put their sound, they had their hard rocking sound, and they had like their poppy sound, and they had ballads, and they just, you know, it just fit perfectly into one album. Because you have Blackout, great track, hard hitting, one of their most known songs. And then Can't Live Without You, another great track. Dynamite, another heavy track. But then you have like When the Smoke Is Going Down to end the album, very mellow, and it just flows perfectly. And of course their major hit, No One Like You. And the underrated track of this album is Arizona. It's a good poppy driven pop rock song, good road trip song to just crank your windows down and listen to and jam in the car. But yeah, overall I think it's just the best blend of sound and like mix, and it was a perfect timing because then of course Love at First Sting hit after this and just skyrocketed the band worldwide. So that's my list. I wish I would have brought that fucking laser disc upstairs. I had it right next to me downstairs, but I forgot to bring it. Oh well, I'm not walking downstairs to get it, but that's my list of the Scorpions releases and my rankings, or my ranking. So let me know what you think. A lot of mistakes, like always, but let me know what your list might be, or if you want me to do a band. If I have enough albums by, I could probably do it. I might do an Accept one. I got all but one. Another German classic metal band. Yeah, I think the next video won't be a ranking video, but I just want to get this one done. So let me know what you think. I'll put a link in the description for, you know, former videos if I'm allowed this time, and the subscription option. So as always, take care, rock on, and I'll see you next time.